Lesson 8.6 is slope, and slope is the steepness of a line. So a really high number slope would be a really steep line. A fractional slope might be a flatter grade or steepness. Slope is going to be represented by the variable m. It can't be s. S was already used, and honestly I don't know where m came from, but you need to remember m stands for slope. That's going to be important the rest of the week when we talk about equations of lines and stuff like that. M is slope. Slope is considered rise over run. How many steps up and how many steps over from one point to the next. That determines how steep it is. In the box with a little star, slope should be written as a fraction unless it reduces to an integer. So if you had something like 10 over 5, you would just say the slope is 2. But if you had something like 10 over 4, you would say, okay, that reduces to 5 over 2, but that's not a whole number or integer, so you would just leave it 5 over 2. So slope is generally a fraction because you want the rise over the run. When you're looking at graphs, I want you to look at it from left to right like you would read a book. And if the slope goes uphill, like this one, the slope is considered positive. If the slope from left to right goes downhill, it's considered negative. And there's two more slopes that I want us to look at, and we'll skip over this section so that we can see them while I'm talking about slopes. And that would be these two. If a line is horizontal, like this one, it has the slope of 0. It has the slope of 0. And if you came across a slope like this to ski at perfects, that would be 0 fun. That wouldn't be fun to try to ski just where it was completely horizontal. But the opposite of that, an undefined slope, or also considered no slope, would be a line completely vertical, which we said also was not really a function. I say it's oh no, because if you came to a slope like that, you might scream oh no all the way down because you're completely vertical, but it's a no slope line. It's undefined. So there's 0 fun, and that's where the 0, it equals 0, and then there's an oh no where it's undefined. We'll talk about that in just a second a little bit more. What we're going to do to find slope, if there's like 3 different ways. One is if they give you 2 points of the line, you're going to use the slope formula. And today when we're doing this, and probably tomorrow because we're doing slope a couple days so you have it down pat, I want you to write the formula on every problem. And you're going to write m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and then you're going to plug it in. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the 2 points and you're going to label them. x1, y1, x2, y2. That means you're going to label point 1, its x coordinates, and point 2, its x and y coordinates. Once you write the formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, you plug the numbers in the right spots, and then you solve it. So we're going to do some examples of that in just a second. This part down here, when you're going to have a number over a number, okay? Like a fraction. If the 0 comes out on top, 0 divided by anything is 0. You can test that out on your calculator. 0 divided by anything is 0. But when you go over and you try to divide by 0, so the 0's on the bottom, it gives you an error on your calculator because you cannot divide by 0. So if the 0 comes on the bottom, you would say that it's undefined, or you could write no slope. So these two things are opposites, and you'll have to remember which is which. 0 divided by anything is 0. But you can't divide by 0, so when 0 is on the bottom, it's undefined. So we're going to try this and use those steps. So we're going to find the slope between for the line that has point A and point B on it. So the first thing it says is to label the points, and this is what I'm going to have you do. You write your ordered pairs down. I'm going to say that this first one is point 1. So therefore, the -2 is x1, and the 0 is y1. Point B is going to be my second point, so x2, y2. So label those. You have to write the ordered pairs down and then label those. x1, y1, x2, y2. Then you're going to write the formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The y's are on top because remember how we said it was rise over run? If you're looking at a coordinate grid, which one's the y-axis? If you're looking at a coordinate grid, which one's the y-axis?
The one going horizontal. I can't.
This one, the one's going horizontal, is the x-axis, and the vertical one's y-axis. So the one that would measure the rise is the y. That's why it's on top. Rise over run. So y over x. Now we're ready to plug in the numbers. Okay, does anybody want to try this one with me? All right, Trayton, which one is y2? 8 minus, which one is y1? 0. And on the bottom, which one is x2? So -5 minus, which one's x1? -2. Now, before we go much further, double sign, negative, negative, yeah, that becomes plus. Okay, now, let's go like this. 8 minus 0, what's that, Trayton? 8. And then -5, so I'm a 5 in the hole, but I gain 2. -3. So, does 3 go into 8 evenly in any way? No. Is there any factor you can cancel out of 8 and 3? No. The only thing you can do, since the top is positive and the bottom is negative, the signs are different, so it's going to be a negative. You kind of pull that out in front. -8/3. If they would both be negative, then it would be a positive slope. But if there's only one, it's a negative slope. Questions about that example? All right, so how about let's find the slope for the line that has E and F. -6, -4, 0, 1. So what we're going to do with this is for E, we're going to say x1, y1. x1, y1. And then the F point would be x2, y2, because that's the second point. So you've got a first point and a second point, and you label x1, y1, x2, y2. After you label your points on every problem, I'm going to require you to write M equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, who wants to do this one? Stephen? Or do you have a question?
I was going to say something, but I don't know.
Okay.
Wouldn't writing the formula on every problem be a bit counterproductive?
All right, do you want to do this? Go ahead.
Yes.
All right, so what's y2?
y2, 1 plus
Well, no, it's 1 minus, and then what's y1?
-4.
Okay, now that there is a double sign there, and they're the same, now we can say plus. Okay, I don't want people to get ahead of themselves. Go ahead and say plus. All right, now, x2.
0 minus negative 6
And again, double sign, so it would be what, Stephen?
plus
Very good. Okay, now, on the top, 1 plus 4,
plus 4 equals 5.
5, and 0 plus 6.
6.
And does that reduce in any way?
I don't think so.
Nope. And they're both positive, so the slope is positive 5, 6. All right, so I told you there's like 3 different ways we're going to do this. The first one is using this slope formula, okay? The second way is counting rise over run. So let's look at these and I'll show you what you do. So they have 2 points marked. If they don't have the points marked, you look for points on corners, just like we talked about on Thursday. And slope is rise over run, so we get that straight. And I'm going to suggest that you start at the lowest of the 2 points. And this is what you'll do. So the lowest of the 2 points right now is 0, 0. I'm going to count directly up that vertical to see how many steps I rise up to be even with the other point. So 1, 2, 3. So I rise 3 steps, and then I'm running right, which is a positive direction, and I'm running 1, 2. So 3 over 2. The slope of that line is 3/2. That's one of those improper fractions that doesn't reduce any other way other than it's improper, so you leave it a slope of 3/2. Do not make slope 1 1/2. That it isn't. It's never a mixed number. Okay, I'm going to show you one that maybe goes the other way. So let's look at this one. We would do m equals rise over run. You start at the lower point, and it's at -3, so this is kind of close together here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I rise up 6, but I've got to go left, which is a negative direction, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I totally missed it. I don't think it's even, the points are placed in the right spot, but that's how many there would be to go from 3 back to -3. So it would be -6. One of them is positive and one of them is negative, which makes it a negative slope. And what about 6 over 6? It reduces down to 1, so it would be -1. Okay, just for the sake of helping you out here with a few of these, I'm going to write a couple of different things down so that you know if they turn out like this is how you would reduce them, okay? So like I said, let's say you went through the formula and it came out to, let me write that down again, 10 over 5. So I'm going to say if, like this, if this, then you would write this answer. How about that? So if it came out to 10 over 5, you would write your answer as +2. If it came out to -10 over -5, you would still be +2. What if it was -10 over +5? Then it would be -2. If it came out to 10 over 4, you would write that as 5/2, but you would not reduce it to a mixed number. Okay, what about if it came out as 0 over 4? What would you write? If it came out to 0 over 4, you would write 0. And if it came out as 4 over 0, you would write undefined.